Hey everyone, welcome on back. In today's video, we're going to be attempting our very first speed build. In this speed build, we're going to be making an Elegantcore farm with the new items, or, at least attempt to. So, if you're interested in more content like this, I really appreciate it if you like and subscribe. Also, make sure to hit that notification bell if you want to get notified every time that I post. But let's get right into it. With a 2.0 update, Animal Crossing introduced cooking and crops, as well as a slew of new items to work with. The unfortunate thing about the crops is that the aesthetic isn't particularly made for Elegantcore, and so originally when I was prepping for 2.0, I wanted to make a temp farm. We started this on stream, and then I challenged myself for whatever reason to incorporate crops into Elegantcore and make it super extra. What started as a meme actually came out really well. Unfortunately, I had to take it down because it wasn't placed correctly on my map, as well as I just wanted to make it look better. So with this build here, I took the liberty to incorporate it to my theme, which is Elegantcore, and made it better. A 2.0 version if you must. Anyways, I knew the struggle here was going to be making an entrance that would look elegant walking into the farm. This took me quite a while to play and mess with, and I really wanted to make use of the new tri-street lamps with a cute basket design. I'm hoping here that when you walk down this incline, you'll be greeted with something beautiful, as well as being surprised that there are crops. So I'll let you watch me build this and I'll come back later. So as we get into incorporating spots for the crops here, I knew I wanted all 6 crops to be in this build, but also be spread out and kind of asymmetrical. Being that I'm trying to incorporate crops into Elegantcore, I knew I didn't really need a ton of crops, so I opted for a 2x4 section for each crop. And as we decorate, I also didn't want to stray away from my main items that are a staple to Elegantcore, such as the shrubs, iron and stone fencing, garden lamps, and etc. So my thinking here is if I start laying out my paths first, I'll be able to know where I want to place the crop sections. I just like to lay out my paths first before I start adding the central pieces to the mix. It just helps me visualize where I want things to be. I do that a lot with villager houses and mostly everything else too. With this area, I wanted the farm to be in an enclosed space. So I put up a ton of fences, which are a great way to section this area out from the rest of the map. My thinking is, this kind of makes it a very mixed farm and garden hybrid. Also, you'll see me use a lot of the iron and stone fencing mixed with the hedges. The combination of these two fences make for some beautiful looks as they seem to complement each other very well. And if you haven't already noticed, I also use a ton of patterns to decorate. I think patterns really complement items if you use it right, as well as giving it extra depth. For example, the flower bed that I used the pattern underneath kind of makes it look like it's sitting on top of something instead of just on the grass. So I'm building up these cliffs to match the left side of the map. This is with the thinking that, again, enclose the farm to a space, as well as I'm planning on adding waterfalls along the side in the future. Here, originally I had a fountain as the centerpiece, but with the introduction of the gazebo, which I swear by the way, Nintendo knew Elegantcore was a thing, I wanted to make sure I incorporated that into this build. Also, I just imagined this gazebo sitting in the center of a gorgeous field in front of a waterfall. Kind of just gives me that anime and Miyazaki vibes. Alright, so now that I got the 6 plots ready for crops, it's time to fill in the little details. A lot of the decorating that I use around my island are some of the same items over and over again. I very much want consistency when I'm building an area so I don't stray too much from the theme. Of course, it wouldn't be Elegantcore without the waterfalls. I'm not the best at waterscaping, and so I decided that while I did want waterfalls, I also didn't want to go too crazy. I might go back to this section here and redo this later if I have time to incorporate more waterfalls at the top of the waterfalls. Also, aside from the gazebo, the pergola is one of the cutest new additions to the game. I wanted them to be at the left and right side of the farm, only because I think pergolas look super cute in some sort of garden or farm. I kind of imagined my character sitting by the waterfall reading a book underneath the pergola. So in this next section, I know for a fact I want a waterfall coming down from the second tier. However, I'm not exactly sure how wide I was going to make it be, so right now I'm just planning it out where I want it to be and how wide it should be. So coming up to this next part, the main centerpiece here at the top will be a Valiant statue, another Elegantcore item staple. Originally I wanted this to be a 3-tiered waterfall, but I didn't think you'd be able to see the statue from the first level, and so I opted against it. Also, it didn't look like I had a lot of room to do that as well. This section of waterscaping took the longest, especially because I was trying to figure out how to taper the edges at an angle to make it look nice. Even here at some point, I had to terraform into the cliff to get out of this section. Alright, so now that I have the left side terraformed and waterscaped the way I wanted, I'm gonna go ahead here and go to the right and do the same thing. You know, you just gotta keep that symmetry going. Phew. All right, with most of the terraforming and decorating done, I'm gonna go ahead and run back and forth putting the crops into their respective sections. This part was extremely satisfying to do as I can see the farm becoming actual reality. And also, after watching this, I realized that I forgot to add the second tier of waterfalls to the left and right side. So you'll probably see that at the end. I'm sorry. Alright, y'all, I think this turned out so much better than I could have imagined. I'm so glad that I was able to incorporate the new items such as the gazebo, pergola, and the tri-street lamps. I might want to go back eventually and redo the waterscaping just a tad bit, but otherwise, I feel pretty satisfied with this build. But that was my Elegantcore Farm speed build. This was my first ever speed build, and boy was it hard to do and record. I definitely learned a lot in the process of doing it. However, I'm very proud of this build, and I think I was able to achieve placing a farm in an Elegantcore theme. Well, let me know in the comments below what you think of the build and if you're planning on making a farm for Elegantcore now that you saw this. Love your face, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!